Hi, this is Ed Laflamme, head harvester from the East Coast.
And Lauren Howell, harvester from the Midwest. You know, Ed, we always are talking about our clients. Clients are number one, and we talk about how the customer's always right. But sometimes, are they? Like, how does that work?
That's funny you said that, because, you know, I live in Wilton. In Norwalk, there's a big store called Stu Leonard's.
Okay.
And right now they have about 5 or 6 stores, but in front of when you walk in, right when you walk in, there's a gigantic boulder. Yeah. And it says, rule number 1, the customer is always right. And underneath it, it says, rule number 2, if the customer is not right, refer to rule number 1. Everybody sees that and laughs, right?
Right.
But what does Harvester Bill always say?
The customer's always right, but sometimes you don't have the right customer.
Yes. So what do we do then?
You know, we always worry about losing a customer. Like, that's a big deal. We don't want to lose jobs, but sometimes it's just not a good fit. And the number one thing I think about is clients who don't want to pay on time, who don't want to pay, who want to haggle over the pricing. You know, you're looking at your accounts receivable, and there's always this client that's 90, 120 days, and it takes so much effort to collect. And at some point, you just get to the point where it's not worth the time, and they're a problem. You need to let them go.
Yeah, absolutely. And then some of them, you're not making any
money.
Hey,
yeah.
Now what do we do?
You know, I think that's another one. You know, if you look at your numbers and you know that a client's not profitable, and you should go and meet with them, and you should try to negotiate. And we always talk about, year-end increases and, giving them that opportunity to increase and stay with you the next year. But same thing, like if they're dragging down your numbers and they're non-negotiable on the price, we can't work for free. We're not in here as a nonprofit. So sometimes that doesn't make sense either.
Yep. I have a client that had to really raise the price up in a large job because of COVID, and the prices kept escalating higher. And so it came time for I think he was in the second year of the contract going into the third, and he had to raise the price. He was losing money on the job, and it's really big. You know what he did? He got all the data together for the last so many years, and they called a meeting, and he went in and reviewed all the numbers. Okay. He talked to him about gross margins and expenses and how much what the raises he had to give, what the percentages
the
were,
real numbers,
CPI, cost of living, and then you know what? After he set the stage, he just said, I'm going to have to raise the price. I think you can see by what I'm showing you, he got it.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
And I think when you're in that position, you still want to make the effort, even when you're at the point that you're not making money.
Right.
You need to keep the quality up. You need to keep the client happy. You need to keep them feeling the love, so that when you come into that meeting, you come from a place of, do you love us? Do you love how great your property looks? Here's what we need to do to keep it.
Love it. That's a great advice. Great advice.
Yeah.
And then you have the orphan property.
Yeah. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
You end up with a route that, you agreed to take on that maybe is further away from your yard than you would like. And over time, you have some attrition, and there's just this one job hanging out there that's an hour and a half away. It just doesn't really make sense. And I've actually handled that by finding some of my competitors who I trust and respect, and if they service that area, I will give that client some referrals of somewhere else they could go to. I give them time to make the transition, and it can really be a win-win for everybody. And then you're not burning bridges with somebody you might have the chance to work with later on.
Yep, that's a good point. And the last thing I was going to share was I practiced myself and had my company, and I always counsel my people to, like, the bottom 5%. Just cut them loose every year. Just cut them loose. Either raise the price up so high, but usually those are the ones that either they're orphans, you're not making enough money, or they complain too much.
Right.
So just raise that price up. And by doing that, then you can make room for better clients.
And it makes everybody happier. It's not a drag on your whole staff. I think that's a great tactic. Absolutely. Yeah.
So there you have it. Some good, I think, solid ideas to think about with regard to your customers. They're not always right.
Yeah, they're not.
Sometimes you have the wrong customers. So think about that, okay? This is Ed Laflamme, head harvester from the East Coast.
And Lauren Howell, harvester from the Midwest.
And if you use these ideas, it'll help you harvest your potential.